I'm in the building template. I'm in the disappearing gutter folder, and gutter low is the template I'm in. Our engineering goal is to have this gutter disappear when the pavement slopes away from it. Okay? That's not happening right now. We have a gutter where the rain will never get to. Okay? So we want to automatically take care of that. Display rules is the technology that allows us to compare the physical locations of any 2 points in the template at every template drop, regardless of what's going on, whether it's super elevation or whether we have controls or whether it's end conditions. So what we're going to do is we are going to double click on this gutter. That gets us our components properties dialog, and we are going to go to edit display rules. It's actually the same way of getting in there to the dialog, the same way as right-clicking on it and say set component display rules. So there's two places to get to the same, two ways to get to the same place. Okay, this frame here, this is the conditional expression for the gutter component. Okay, for this component, it will make an expression based on display rules. So we need to add some display rules. Display rules are template wide. Okay, and we can call it rule 1, but that would be extremely vague and very hard to debug. What we want to figure out is we want to know the relationship vertical between the edge of pavement and the center line. So one way to do that is say, and this will evaluate, display rules evaluate is either true or false. So you want to make a statement in the name. So edge of pavement lower than center line. Okay, that's clear. What we're evaluating here is the edge of pavement lower than the center line. If EOP lower than center line, then we need a gutter. Okay, explicit is good. What we're going to do is do the vertical. Okay, we do an absolute vertical, but we don't, we want to differentiate between positive and negative, so we don't want to have an absolute value. So it's going to be vertical, and between the center line and the edge of pavement. Okay, so it'll pick a value here, 0, it's -2, it'll subtract it. So that would be a positive. So if the vertical between center line and edge of pavement, so 0 minus -0.2 is a positive, greater than 0, then this is true. So I'm going to hit OK. And you can see right now the result is true to give us a result. So that is, in fact, we got our information right, our signs right. So it is true in this case. The edge of pavement is lower than the center line. So what we've just done is added a display rule. Okay, that is owned by the template, and what happens is at each template drop, all the display rules in the template are evaluated. They are physical relationships between any points in the template. Okay. Now it's being evaluated at every drop, but nothing is happening with it at this point. So what we're going to do is, where it says conditional expression for the gutter component, this is a property of the component. Okay, so this component, if we want it to turn on or off depending on the condition of the display rule, we need to kind of get that display rule as a property of the component. So I'm going to select this and say, okay, so when this is true, this will display. And you can evaluate it right now, it's true. I'm going to hit OK. And again, I can double click on the template and you can see that the component, and it says a display rule, and there can be one per component. You can use and, or, parentheses, stuff like that, but there is one display rule. It is the rule that allows this to turn itself off. Okay. What happens is if it's true, it may or may not display, but if this evaluates to false, it will not display. If a component's display rule is false, it will not display. If it's true, there's some other things that can control it. Okay, so it doesn't make, if it evaluates true, it doesn't mean it absolutely will go on. But if it is off, it will, if it's false, it will absolutely go off. Apply, close. Don't believe me? Let's test. I'm going to move it. Notice as soon as that edge of pavement gets higher, it disappears. So we have our disappearing gutter now. We still need to tie into the existing ground. So let's drag this in. I can see from the bottom of my dialog that mirror is not on and reflect is not on. Okay, I'm going to have that merge. Okay, let's see what happens. Move. All right, got a bit of a challenge there. The gutter goes away, but the end conditions are still there. So we need to make sure that when this goes away, or when the edge of pavement is higher than the center line, this also goes away. There's a number of different ways to do this, but perhaps the easiest way to do it is go to Active Template, go to Components. Okay, so we have you can see our pavement component, our gutter component, and then we have a end condition. We have a component, okay, from which there is a series of end conditions that are owned by this. That's nice. What we can do is just drag this under the gutter, and then what happens is the buffer grass and its children, the cut and fill, become children of the gutter. Okay, so when the gutter displays everything that it owns, everything it's a parent of or grandparent of, goes away. Okay. And the general rule is, if a component is displayed, its children will not display. So let's test it. Oh, little quirk here. When you are in the Active Template tab, all the components are displayed. So if a display rule turns them off, you will not see it in the Active Template. You have to go to Library. Now when I do it, move, see, boom. Notice how they all go away. By the way, there is a Display All Components toggle for the if you do want to see them in the library view. I'm going to move that back down, turn off my display components. We are not quite through with this template yet. So for example, let's when we move this, that goes away. The gutter goes away, the end conditions go away. However, we still need to tie into the existing ground. So we do need to provide end conditions at the shoulder. Okay, let's drag the cut and fill in, attach it to the shoulder. Okay, let's run our test. I can test it here, but notice I got doubles. Okay. Let's do the move. Same thing. Here I have a single end condition solution. Here I have double. I need to turn off this series when we have a gutter. There's a couple ways to do it. I can do an end condition. I'm going to double click here. I can do an end condition. Excuse me, not an end condition. I can do a display rule and say not. And then I'll select this. Okay, so when the center line is not lower than the edge of pavement, let's move it. Okay, very good. That works. And that is an acceptable solution.